Hi, I'm George Lang, and this is Weekend Look, your guide to entertainment news in Oklahoma City and the world. This fall, there's relatively few interesting news shows on the networks, possibly because they're all trying to reacquaint viewers with all the series that debuted last season that didn't get a fair shake thanks to the Writers Guild strike. But two new science fiction-oriented shows caught Weekend Look's attention in the past week. The newly Americanized version of BBC's Life on Mars and the new Christian Slater vehicle, My Own Worst Enemy. First, let's talk about My Own Worst Enemy. This show from Lucky Number 11 writer Jason Smilovich was hyped incessantly by NBC this summer, and a cast boasting Slater, Tulsa native Alfre Woodard, Madkin Amick of Twin Peaks, and Saffron Burrows looked like it could have been interesting or even great. Slater plays Henry Spivey, a middle-class guy with a vague job who lives in the suburbs with his wife and two kids. Well, at least that's what he thinks. Actually, he's Edward Albright, a skilled assassin, and thanks to a government program in which Edward is only brought out of his life as Henry when it's time to do a job, one that leads a double life. Now, as strong as the potential was for this show, what with the top-notch cast and all, the pilot was absolutely incomprehensible. At no point was it made clear why Edward Albright actually needed a cover story or how this system even worked. Now, Slater is just fine after a long fallow period on the big screen, but he is adrift in a show that is all flash but with no internal logic. Now, hopefully the showrunners will be able to get this thing into shape. It would help if just a few things in it made something resembling sense. Now, My Own Worst Enemy returns at 9 p.m. Monday after Heroes, another show that, after this season, could use a little help, but more on that later. Now, fortunately, Life on Mars, a show that arrives with an even better cast and premiered last week, fares much better. Jason O'Mara plays Sam Tyler, a New York City detective who, during an investigation of a serial killing, is hit by a car and wakes up 35 years earlier. Now, somehow, he's still a cop working at the same precinct house, but now he's living without cell phones, digital technology, and modern policing techniques and attitudes. Now, sure, it's a time travel show with the leaps of logic associated with it, but the execution is promising, and the cast includes Harvey Keitel as Sam's precinct captain, Michael Imperioli of The Sopranos as one of his fellow detectives, and in a funny costume move, looking a lot like Glenn Fry circa Hotel California. And Gretchen Mol of the notorious Betty Page is playing a sympathetic policewoman with a psychological interest in Sam's dilemma. And Lisa Bonet is starring as his 2008 partner and girlfriend, who might have been the serial killer's latest victim. Now, for music heads, Life on Mars is exceedingly cool. The pilot was titled Out Here in the Fields, which is the first line from The Who's Baba O'Reilly, and of course it takes its title from the classic Bowie song from Hunky Dory, which is playing when Sam gets hit by the car. Now, the show did well thanks to its Grey's Anatomy lead-in on Thursday, so here's hoping that it performs better in the long run than last year's time travel show Journeyman, which got canceled after its writer's strike shortened season. So enough about TV, let's talk about music this weekend. The great Denver power pop band Dressy Bessy plays Opolis on Friday in Norman, while Montgomery Gentry and Oklahoma native Keith Anderson put on a big country show on Friday at the Zoo Amphitheater. And of course, Sunday is a big day for Diamond Heads as Neil Diamond plays the Ford Center. Now, you can read all about my interview with Neil in the Weekend Look section of the Oklahoman and on newsok.com. And for more concert information about things going on this weekend, check out wimgo.com. That's all we have for this week, and for more about movies, music, and everything else that's entertaining, check out the Weekend Look section of the Oklahoman, the A&E section of newsok.com, the latest issue of Look at OKC, and of course, wimgo.com. For Weekend Look, I'm George Lang. See you next week.